What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the B3 podcast. I'm your host, Brett. We got multiple injuries, Matt, and we have Tanner the Head here. It's our predictions show. Tanner's been really crushing it with Nebraska lately. But anyway, we've got our show partners, Elite Nutrition Omaha. Check them out at elitenutritionomaha.com. Use code B3 at checkout for 10% off. You can go to the store in Omaha or Lincoln and yell B3.
Get a free shaker.
Are they still glow in the dark?
They are.
Yeah. No Cybertruck rides, though. Steve's the fucking no fun police.
They do glow in the dark, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that Matt's off his injury, he may have to refill on his supplements.
True.
We also have Rosewood Block. They make the best cutting boards and barbecue, fully customizable. Check them out at rosewoodblock.com. Use code B3 at checkout for 10% off there as well.
Bloop. Swell.
Yeah.
Swell.
Speaking of glow in the dark, before we get too far.
Whoa.
No, exactly what you're thinking. So I assume that, well, Tanner watched the Nebraska game. Did you watch it? So did you? So the kid that was dressed up as the condom and they kept showing him on TV?
No.
Oh, dude, it was fucking hilarious. And they kept showing him, and then they like pan back like they're showing the crowd. Oh, and what did it fucking say? And it had like fucking said something on it. It was great that he was just dressed as a giant condom, and the camera guy kept fucking zooming in on him.
Safety.
No, fucking what did it say? But yeah, it was great though. And that, like, literally, that's who they would start. Like, they would zoom in and then they pan out. That's boom
Every time.
do the condom and then fucking back out.
Right.
You know,
the
someone's on the
condom
horn and be like, fucking camera 2, knock it off.
And he's like, no,
No. Fire me.
no.
You can't can me till after this game's.
God, I wish I could remember what it said. It was like, one of those old school, like, don't decker with an unwrapped pecker. You know what I mean? Oh, it said no love, no glove, no love. Oh, man, it was fucking hilarious. And just, every time I was like, do you guys see that? And they're like, what? And then sure enough, they just showed it again. Fucking killer. Speaking of that game, Tanner, what are your feelings on that game? Usually we text during the game, the three of us or four of us, because I was at Chris's house actually for the first half.
So,
Did one of you guys fart?
no, that's you.
No,
Is that me?
I took a pretty devastating poo before we started this though.
At one point in time, I threw my phone down and I turned the TV off.
Just had a real tantrum.
Yep. And then I was sitting there for a second, then I got on the internet. And unfortunately, I saw Nebraska scored a touchdown, so I turned it back on.
How they get you.
Yeah.
That was a
Here's a little sprinkle of hope.
And then I watched the touchdown. I'm like, okay, there we go. And then I fast forwarded it to real time bullshit. Yeah.
and then we didn't hear anything in the group chat. So was it Sunday? I sent that. I said at this point, I assume Tanner has nothing to say about the Nebraska game.
Dude.
It was rough, but you know what? I was pretty impressed with old Heimlich Hamburger. He's got a good little spiral on him. He throws a tight ball.
What happened to Rayola?
Well, it looked like his back, but then somebody said something about maybe a shoulder. I don't really know.
He had it looked like back spasms, but
Do you think his dad was like, "Don't be such a pussy, get up"?
no, he tried to go back out right away.
I know, but when he went down on the ground, do you think his dad's like, "Come on,
Yeah.
that's the family name out there, get up"?
Get that name off your jersey.
Well, the worst thing you can do as a football player is try and tough it out and get to the sideline. Because if you lay down, then you have time to sub, right?
Yeah.
Like the worst thing you can do, like honestly, if you have anything, you have to get a sub, lay on the ground. Like, I'm sorry, like I know it's kind of a bitch move, but give your team, especially if you're putting in a different quarterback, give your team a fucking second, lay on the ground.
Yeah, old Hamburger came in there. He tried.
Yep.
He tried. Well, this week they got a bye week, so you can't lose on a bye week. So that's nice.
I don't know. They could probably figure out.
You got 8-4. Is that what you're going with right now, or?
Yep.
10-3, right?
It was 10-2.
Yeah, so it was 11-3 when the season started.
That's
It's
right.
11-3.
That doesn't make sense. We
National
don't play 14
championship.
games.
Oh, sorry.
It was 10-2, and then I said I might change it to 11-1.
Yes, that's right.
And then we went. Now we're at 8-4.
Who's getting fired?
Satterfield's getting fired.
If Satterfield does not get fired, does Rule get fired?
I do not think Rule is getting fired. I honestly don't. I think they could lose out and he won't get fired. I know where the money's coming from there, and I just don't think it's happening.
Because like we can't afford to pay out anymore.
No, we can afford, but the person who can afford it, I don't think is making that call. I think he'll give him one more year regardless, but it will be with a condition of something's got to change.
Because because the media's already started to kind of shit on him already. They say he's
Satterfield?
failing the program. And then they start digging up his old stats about how he turned around Baylor and all that. When he's only beat 3 ranked teams ever in his career.
Well, Nebraska hasn't beat one for 20-some fucking years, so.
I'm just saying. The hype of Rule the Car salesman. I mean, he got himself here. Got himself a bunch of money. His kids will be generationally wealthy. That's what every successful Nebraska coach does. They get their kids generationally wealthy. They get personal success, not team success.
I'm still thinks Rule's the guy. I still think he was.
I don't. Let's save some money. Get fucking Urban Meyer in here. Let's win some fucking national championships. I don't care if he's got fucking killers on the team. Whatever we got to do. When Tom Osborne won, how many fucking people were in jail on his team?
Only in the off season though.
No.
Nope.
He missed like the first like 4 games, didn't he?
Phillips?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because this Frost was hiding in the fucking closet while he drugged that lady down the stairs.
Didn't Thunder Collins beat up his girlfriend too or something?
Yeah, Thunder was a very good running back, though. He just had a cool name.
Because on C92, they always play Thunderstruck when they talk about him.
He just had a cool name. We've had like some cool name people.
The
but
coldest.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, he got a commercial out of the deal. Fuck, he was like,
and then he
terrible.
transferred.
Well, he didn't play anyway. Did he even do anything?
No.
But yeah, because Nebraska does not have an easy road ahead for the next 3 teams. USC's not like fantastic, but they'll play hard. Wisconsin's been playing well. And then they got beat by Iowa, but Iowa's playing really well. Iowa's got that running back. He was a monster.
Yeah.
Isn't he one of the best running backs in the country right now?
Yeah.
If not the best, maybe.
Probably second. No, Jonty's probably still first.
Yeah, that dude's he's running well. Which that's the thing. So we got to predict this week. I feel like most of these games are like pretty easy to call.
Yeah, they're not great.
Tonight, Friday, we got Iowa at UCLA.
Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa will win that for sure, I think.
Totally.
Purdue at Ohio State. Obviously, Ohio State. Minnesota at Rutgers. I picked Minnesota on that.
Minnesota.
Yeah. Michigan at Indiana.
Indiana.
You know what, though?
By a fucking truckload.
Is someone going to break Indiana's fucking... is the O going to go?
Not Michigan.
You don't think so? It's one of those teams that you get surprised. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but Michigan still can't throw a forward pass.
I feel like we're going to pick all the same right now, so I'll pick Michigan.
You're going to pick Michigan. Don't. I mean, that's a dumb one to pick.
Oh, Maryland's going to be Oregon?
No, but
And Washington's going to beat Penn State?
Yeah, I guess.
At least Michigan has the best shot of upsetting somebody.
Where is it?
It's in Indiana.
Where is it at Penn State?
Yes, it's at Penn State.
Yeah, I don't think Washington has a chance.
And it's only 14.5 to Indiana. Indiana, I bet the Michigan fans will travel. That's not that far of a travel to.
I think they'll probably stay home.
But they might go because they need it for a bowl game.
Well, they're not getting it this week.
I don't know. They play Ohio State.
And they're not getting it that game either. I think they play. Who else do they play? They play Oregon.
Yeah, their end of their schedule is not great for them. No, they already played Oregon. They got beat 38-17.
Yeah.
They play Northwestern. They'll probably get that one. And then Ohio State. I don't know. I'll take Michigan over Indiana. I don't think Indiana's going to finish undefeated. I think it's better to lose during the season.
Haven't they been scoring almost 50 points a game?
Yeah, Indiana's pretty fucking good.
They've the lowest points they've put up is 31.
They're pretty good. Yeah. And I think that was with their backup quarterback.
Because they had 31 the first game against Florida International. And then they did 31 against Washington.
With their backup quarterback.
But yeah, they did 47 against Michigan State, 56 against the old Huskers, 41 against Northwestern, 42 against Maryland, 52 against Charlotte, 42 against UCLA, and 77 against Western Illinois. 77-3.
It's a close game.
That's a
Dude, who's that just got Kent State? They got the shit beat out of them by everybody.
Did you see that it was a high school game here? I think it was Millard South played Lincoln High.
Dude, Millard South, from what I understand talking to the guys here that have the kids in high school, Millard South just went around and basically took the fucking 10 best kids in Nebraska or in the Omaha area. They basically scouted all those kids and took them.
Okay. Whatever.
They lost one game so far this year to a team in Arizona.
Yeah. It'll be them in West Side in the finals. But they beat Lincoln High 70-0.
Don't they do continuous clock in high school?
That was halftime. Lincoln High said, we're not going to play the second half.
Oh, they forfeit?
Yeah.
Does
At
it go,
halftime, it was 70-0.
What's Nebraska do? Do they do continuous clock If
Once
it
it
goes
gets over certain points, yeah. Second half.
because when I was in high school, they just had the 50-point rule. I think it had to go it had to go past halftime, and then if you were up by 50, like game was over. Just game over.
Yeah. It was like 70-0 at half.
Ugh,
Might have been worse, but
that's rough.
Lincoln has no good football teams, I don't think. It was West Side.
Are you
North, South.
including Nebraska on that when you said that?
Right now?
You know what? Kelly was talking to me. If anybody has listened to Kelly's episode, it's really good about overcoming addiction. And he told me to tell you that the first step in addiction, being an addict, is to admit you have a problem.
Yeah.
Being a fan addict that you are.
Yeah. That
He's
is
like, the first step is admitting you have a problem. He's like, maybe you need to go back and listen to his episode again.
He probably has a point there.
You
know what the worst thing about when Nebraska gets their ass kicked is like I won't watch Indy football the rest of the week. Like I'm serious. Like I don't
ruin your week.
It just like I'm
I don't know
uninterested. Like
you know what the thing is? I don't know what it is. Like they have like a losing culture, but they've brought in different coaches, so I don't understand how they still have a losing.
I don't know.
culture.
Someone needs to take a goat to the 50-yard line and sacrifice that bitch. I mean, I will. At this
I mean,
point
it's
in time,
so weird. Like
it is weird.
Like how they've just continued a losing culture. Like even when Frost first came and everybody was all hyped up, you know, Frost warning shirts and whatever, and then like I just
lose for 5 years, and then Riley had one good season, and then as soon as they lost to Wisconsin in overtime because they're idiots, then it was like fucking. It was right back to the getting fucking boat raced every week.
Do you think it's, which I know you don't like Dion as a coach, but do you think like at some point do you just do like he did and just, because is it like some of the upperclassmen just have that losing culture? And
that's what I told you.
So is it like, do you just do like a Dion and just go in and like fucking everybody's gone. We're just going to go get people who have never played for Nebraska and bring them in to build a winning culture because no one has a losing mindset.
Well, like I told you after the Indiana game that I wouldn't play as junior or senior the rest of the year.
But you know what I mean? But I think, does that toxicity, is it like a cancer in the locker room? Does that toxicity just keep coming down from upperclassmen? Because it's got to be something. Otherwise, you can't carry a losing tradition for 20 fucking years. Well, 8 years. You know what I mean?
8 years without a fucking bowl game. That's 8 years without being 500.
So you know what I mean? That means that the upperclassmen have to be like, well, we're not going to go to a fuck. You know, something's got to be happening somewhere in the locker room because you bring in a coach. Whether I think Rule is like the guy or not, he's a hype man, and he should be able to get these guys hyped up for this, like with the talent. So someone on the back end has to be putting in like, well, we just fucking we just lose.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they've changed everything. You know, like obviously I'm a Cowboys fan, and everybody wants to blame Jerry, but Jerry's always the constant. So I get it. But like, you look at like Nebraska, these colleges. Nebraska's changed their fucking ADs. They've changed their chancellors. They've changed their athletic directors. They've
coaches.
They've changed coaches. I mean, what? It's got to be in the locker room. I mean, don't you think, Matt? Like, it's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be something that's getting passed down to these people, these kids, to be like, yeah, we just lose.
Well, and the crazy thing about college football, you can see it in a game, you can see it in a season. Like, how does Florida State go from playing in the playoff to being 1-1 or 2-7?
Well, didn't they have like a mass exodus?
No, they have the same coach. But
didn't they didn't a bunch of their players leave?
Oh yeah, maybe, but like to win one game, like last time I checked, they were 1-7. I mean, that takes time.
And now, do you think that that's almost a culture thing? They had that great season last year, and then they got fucked on the playoffs. So, do you think that's just like a big discouragement to them?
I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people, just in general, like when things go bad, they let it just snowball. They don't just.
That's what I'm saying.
reset.
So, do you think that's what snowballed from last year?
You can see it in a game, right? You can see a game's really close, and then like a pick six happens, and it's like over. You know what I mean? Like you can see some teams have that fight, and some teams don't.
Yeah,
and I have.
And I mean,
idea.
like I said, I know you don't care for Dion's, but he might. I mean, he could go 10-2 this year.
Yep.
By doing what everybody said he shouldn't do, and he went in and was basically like, "You suck, get the fuck out of here. We're bringing new people in." Does Nebraska need to go and just fucking bring in fucking 80 new kids or whatever the fuck it is?
I will tell you, if this goes again, like if they fire a coach and start over, I would do it next time. Just fucking clean house and start over.
I mean, yeah, players never, because there's something in there. There's something that is breeding this culture because Nebraska has talent. They have
a lot of talent.
They have the the history, and sometimes that's all it takes for kids is like this history of like winning. Yeah. Even like my high school, it was like a legendary team in Iowa high school football in Coach Blatt and all the state championships they won. And that was always the thing. No kid wanted to be the fucking losing team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because you had such a winning culture built that you're like, you didn't want to be the first person to like.
I'm going to blame Osborne for retiring in 97.
That motherfucker.
Do you think it's because he's still around?
No.
Do you think that causes any problems in the program? Like people are like, well, that's not what Tom would do. Do you think those conversations happen?
I mean, they may have happened at some point in time. I think we're way past that.
Or do you think the boosters are saying too much? There's someone outside the coaching staff because not every coach can be shitty. Do you know what I mean?
The problem is that it is a butthole puckering. Like it is a butthole puckering just environment to be in, right? Like you have the fans that are like they are there, right? You have the entire state that loves it. You have boosters that love it. You have everybody it's us. Like if you travel, you're from, where are you from? Nebraska? Oh, football, right? Like that's. Now it's like, oh, you guys have had a rough go of it, huh? But it's always football, and like I think it's just a butt puckering. Like I think it squeezes you hard, and like what comes out when you're squeezed, and I think it's usually butt puckering and making bad decisions. I think coaches have a hard time coaching freely. Like I think
it's the fear of losing your job here.
I think it's the fear of just losing in general, and then dealing with there are 4 shows between Lincoln and Omaha about basically Nebraska sports, mainly Nebraska football, on the air every day. Like on 1620, it's 6. Like there's 3. On 590, there's 2. Then that's 1480 in Lincoln. There's 2 or 3. I mean, they're it's everywhere. Like
like I've always said, that's the kind of the plus and negative of there only being one football team in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Like you look at Iowa State, well, if Iowa State's shitty, all Iowa has to be is a little bit better. People are like, look at how good the fucking Hawkeyes are doing compared to Iowa State. Like, so you always have that, like, you can play that game, but when you're the only one, everybody's up your ass.
Right. It's people's butthole puckers when they get here.
South first Nebraska.
Well,
Is it?
Yes. Oh my God. Who'd win, Georgia or the worst team in the NFL? I'm just going to let you know the worst team in the NFL would kill them by 1,000 points.
100%.
Like, because every NFL team is full of NFL players, and even the best college team is not.
But what do you think about? There's a few of those like Alabama national championship teams that were pretty fucking good.
Nope.
It's just never going to happen.
I'd like to see it though.
They used to do it.
What about Alabama?
Well, in the United States, I think when pro football used to actually be second tier to college football, like because it was people who were workers or doing labor jobs or whatever, and they would just do it for like the 8 games or whatever. And there was a time where I think the best college team and the best pro team actually played, and it was a while before the pro team actually won. And to put that in a modern day perspective, if you go down and watch like the Supernovas, they're not as good as Nebraska. Not yet. They may be at some point in time if more money gets into it, but right now they're not as good as Nebraska. Like I watch Nebraska volleyball.
They should have them play.
No, because you'd kill any momentum.
Yeah, but they used to do that with they used to have the Royals play the Omaha Royals.
Yeah, you'd kill any. No. It's a brand new league. You don't want that. You definitely don't want that.
Hey, look at this brand new league getting smashed by a college team.
Yeah, but I mean, Nebraska's one of a kind volleyball team. I mean, there are other ones that come up. That we don't win everything, but we're perennially top 5, like all the time.
Maybe they need to let him coach the football team.
John Cook? Yeah, I think so.
Him and his horsies. He's a big horse guy.
Dude, John Cook is the best coach that Nebraska's ever had in any sport.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a bunch of how many national championships does he have?
I don't know, but he's still the best coach. Like, I don't even need, like, I know he has 3 or more, but it's always there and it's constant. And not only did he do that for Nebraska, he did that for the entire state. Like even Creighton is like a top 15 volleyball program now. I think they were 11 at some point in time this year. Like they're even like everything in Nebraska. At every level of volleyball in Nebraska, they are like competing for their national title. Like it's
That's cool.
It's nuts. Nebraska's a volleyball state.
Who happens to have a football team?
Yeah. At this point.
All right, so what do you think? I think you're still sticking with Nebraska winning out?
Well, right now I'm going to say hopefully Dana Holgerson can help find something to give Satterfield something to lean on. But like it annoys me in that game, right? We ran like 5 straight plays. The shortest distance we got was 4 yards. And then on 3rd and 5, we were going for it on 4th down, obviously. We decided to throw it. And we have an incomplete pass. And then on 4th down, we decided to throw it. Like you could have ran it 2 more times for 5 yards. Like it's working. Like UCLA with all their weird gimmicky bullshit, all you had to do was run the ball up the middle. That's all you had to do. Hand it off, go 4 or 5 yards until they quit doing that gimmicky bullshit. And then you can go back to your offense. But if they're doing their gimmicky bullshit and then you're dropping back and they're blitzing from all over the place, yeah, it's fucking hard. It's hard to figure out where it's coming from. So don't play into their game. Run the fucking ball. Just hand it off. Boring. Who cares? Hand it off up the middle every time. It'll be fine. Until they quit. I feel like some of our staff, like, and it's just football coaches in general, like outthink themselves. Like it's not that fucking complicated. If it's working, make them stop you. Don't just change because you're trying to like.
I would say that just because like someone knows your play doesn't mean they can stop it.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Ward at Miami did that earlier this year. It was like 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 on the like 1 yard line, and he stands ahead of the game. It's like it's going here. Like he's like under center, and he stands up. He's like, it's going right here, and he does it a couple times, and he hands the ball off, and it goes right there, and they score a touchdown.
Well, yeah, I mean it's no different than any goal line, you know, or a 4th and 1 and they go for it. The odds of them running right up the gut is probably 90%.
Yeah.
And how many times does it get stopped? Not that many. The percentage of stoppage is probably what, 10%.
Well, and you know, like I don't think on 4th and 1 I would go like Nebraska stopped 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 quite a few times this year because we have some big hosses up the middle. Okay, well if that's the case, then get a little bit more creative. But if you don't have that, just fucking run up the middle. It's not complicated. Like I was so pissed off in Nebraska when they had 1st and goal at the 1. And I was like, quarterback sneak it 4 fucking times. At some point in time, you'll get a yard. I promise. Like it's just
Was that with Hamburger or was that with?
It was with Hamburger.
Especially Hamburger. That dude can fucking. He's a power.
Just quarterback sneak it until you get in the end zone. Stop. Don't overthink it. It's not that hard. And you can push now. So your running back can run up and shove you into the end zone if you need to.
The boosh poosh.
The bush push.
Well, we'll see what happens this week. We'll see what happens with the
Nebraska
old.
can't lose, so that's good.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with good old Nebraska next week.
God, I hate Wisconsin. I fucking hate Wisconsin.
They're coming on though.
I fucking hate Wisconsin.
You hate Wisconsin or Iowa more?
Iowa fans weren't nearly as bad as Wisconsin fans.
Dude, I was getting in a position to like make a little run.
Iowa's good.
They actually somehow they must get rid of that fucking his dipshit kid must have really helped out this year.
Yeah, their offense doesn't look that. I mean, their offense doesn't look that great. It's defense and special teams.
Yeah, but dude, all they need is that line and that fucking running back, and that dude,
Yeah,
like makes yards happen. Because that quarterback, he's like okay.
I will say I think Nebraska matches up to stop the run pretty well against them when you have a lack of pass. It's
But they got a pretty stout offensive line
theoretically
to go against Nebraska's. To go against Nebraska, they have a pretty stout O line though.
Yeah, but theoretically, it's not a bad matchup. I could all be thrown. Well, and it doesn't really matter. Like Iowa could be 11-1, and Nebraska could be 10-1 and 1-10. It doesn't matter. It'll be 3-point game. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it depends on what it's like there. It's usually windy and fucking cold there.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-point game.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. You let us know what you think about these predictions, and if you think we're.
I think they're good.
This week was really boring.
Yeah, these games. I mean, we might be completely off, but I mean, most games are just by looking at them are pretty easy to fucking determine. Except Michigan's going to beat Indiana.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
Okay, we've played this game before, and you're like, no,
You
going to
wanna bet on
happen.
it?
Yeah.
No, we already got a bet going.
I know.
You better save up for that one. You got to save up for that one.
Try to cancel that one out.
And then if they do fire, you owe Tom like $100 too, don't you?
If they lose out in fire rule,
Yeah.
that doesn't think it's going to. I don't. Hopefully, neither one of those two.
Then you're extra sad.
Well, then I'll be all pissed off until like next April, and then I'll be like, "Oh my god, look at what they have! Look at all these players!" Like I know too much about. It's fucking stupid.
Fuck, we're going 10-2, baby.
Maybe I will just quit caring until the season starts. I'm not going to listen to anything. I'll just listen to podcasts.
Now, but season, do you mean like when they play actual games or just these fucking powder puff teams they play in the beginning?
Like until the actual season starts. Like I won't say anything maybe next
It
year.
is kind of stupid. I mean, I get they want to get some games in, but it does kind of, because you get people so hyped up on the fucking.
But other schools start off with a punch in the face, like SEC schools.
Some do,
no,
but they
it
still
just
work in
depends.
those. Yeah, they still work in those shitty
But
teams though.
the SEC has it perfect because they throw that powder puff game. The
Mid-season.
SEC, like mid-season. Just
It'll be
to
like
have
bye week, fucking Division One team or Division One AA.
Alabama School of the Blind against Alabama.
Yeah, so they basically like 2 bye weeks.
Yeah, they just throw, and it is like
Perfect.
it's like an FCS school. Oh, it's like
I mean, I think
like
coming out of the
worst.
gate,
Yeah.
I think coming out of the gate playing like a fucking Iowa or Wisconsin or Penn State lets you know
get
where you're
after it.
at to make your adjustments for the season.
Yeah.
I don't like playing a Big Ten game to start off with. If it was going to be like, okay, Nebraska will play like Missouri or Kansas State or Iowa State, I would be okay with that because it doesn't affect league play. I would not want to be, which Nebraska has been several times. Our first game is league play, and I don't like that.
It's a league play, Donnie. Change the fucking score.
Well, because
You know what I'm talking about?
that's what matters.
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, the league. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens, and no matter what happens, we'll still be here next week to.
Talk about them good old Huskers.
Yes. So we appreciate you listening. Like, subscribe, share, follow, do all the things. Follow us on the social medias. Instagram, I shouldn't say so, just Instagram. And we'll see you guys next time.